You are not broken. You are not antisocial. And no, it's not just in your head. Have you ever stepped into a crowded room and felt like a ghost? Physically present, yes, but emotionally, somewhere far away. Everyone's talking, laughing, connecting, but for you, every word feels empty, every smile rehearsed. The noise, endless, heavy, dulls your senses until you're barely holding on. You watch others move effortlessly through these social dances, forming bonds like it's second nature. But inside you, there's resistance, an invisible wall separating you from the rest. This isn't some character flaw. It's not about being introverted or too picky. What you're experiencing is the beginning of something much deeper. Your perception has shifted. You're waking up. And once you start to awaken, truly awaken, there's no returning to what you were. Have you ever sensed tension in a room before a word was spoken? Felt the storm brewing inside someone who wore a smile? You don't just observe life, you feel it. Every tone shift, every glance, every subtle pulse of energy around you. Where others walk through life unaware, you sense what hides beneath the surface. It's more than intuition. It's an entirely different frequency of perception. At first, you thought everyone experienced this, that maybe people just pretended not to notice the undercurrents. But then you realized they truly don't see it. They miss what's behind the words. They miss the masks. They miss the pain hidden behind polite expressions. But you see it all. And while this awareness gives you depth, it also comes at a price. Because when you feel everything, you carry everything. The anxiety in someone else's heart becomes yours. The chaos of a space clings to you like fog. And the more tuned in you become, the harder it gets to untangle your emotions from the world's noise. This is where the exhaustion begins. What others call just small talk drains you to your core. You crave meaning, truth, authenticity, and when interactions lack that, they feel unbearable. It's not just being tired of people, it's being tired of pretending, tired of smiling when your soul is begging for silence, tired of social scripts that feel like static, tired of empty rooms full of talking mouths and silent hearts. And so you retreat to solitude, to silence, to the one place where you can finally breathe again. Not because you hate people, but because most people don't know how to be. They call it sensitivity. They say you're too much. But what they don't understand is that your sensitivity is sacred. It's your gift. It's what allows you to know when someone is lying before they speak, to feel someone's grief even when they laugh, to sense the unseen and feel the unspoken. And while society doesn't talk about this, you're not alone, you're not broken, you're simply waking up to a deeper reality, a reality most will never see. There comes a moment, subtle, quiet, when the noise of the world becomes unbearable. It's not that people are louder, it's that your soul has grown quieter, more precise, more attuned. You walk into a room and feel the energy before anyone says a word. Conversations begin, and within moments, your spirit starts to retreat, like it knows there's nothing here for it. Just static, just surface. People will tell you, you just need to socialize more. But what they don't understand is that you're not avoiding connection. You're avoiding disconnection, the kind that happens when people speak without saying anything real. Small talk doesn't feed you. It starves you, because you don't just want words, you want truth. You crave soul-deep conversation, something that stirs your spirit, something that moves you. You want to speak of the soul, of the unseen threads that pull us through this strange existence. You want to talk about purpose, energy, the pain people bury, and the beauty they forget. You want to explore what's real, the wounds we hide, the hopes we dare not voice, the magic we pretend not to believe in. But most conversations never get there. They stay at the surface, comfortable, predictable. People laugh, nod, pretend. And you feel like a stranger in your own skin. Because you see. You see the nervous twitch behind someone's grin, the tension in their voice, the flicker of sadness behind their eyes. You see the masks, so many masks. And after a while it becomes too much, not because you're weak, but because you're awake. You're tuned to a frequency where everything is amplified. You feel what others hide. You carry what they refuse to process. And slowly, that weight becomes unbearable. You start leaving events early, or not going at all. You crave solitude, not for escape, but for healing. Silence isn't loneliness for you, it's sanctuary. It's where you return to yourself, because in solitude, there are no masks, just you. And finally, you can breathe again. But there's more to this than sensitivity. This is a signal, a sign that your soul is awakening to a deeper layer of truth. One where energy speaks louder than words, where presence matters more than performance, where truth is not polished, but felt. And as you awaken, your inner compass changes. You stop chasing approval. You stop tolerating shallow connections. You begin to protect your energy, because now you know what it costs to give your essence away. You notice it in subtle ways, a buzzing sensation in your chest when someone's energy is chaotic, a sharp pull in your gut when someone's words don't match their energy, that feeling of being off after spending time with someone who drains more than they give. Your body becomes your guide, your emotions, your language. This isn't overthinking, it's overfeeling, and if you don't learn to filter it, it consumes you. So you begin to listen to the quiet voice inside that says, leave, to the tension in your shoulders when a room feels wrong, to the weight in your chest that tells you, this is not for you, and slowly you shift. You step away from noise, from crowds, from people who leave you feeling more empty than whole, not because you're antisocial, but because your soul is calling you to something real. You're not broken, you're aligning. You're learning to walk a different path, one that doesn't fit into polite conversations or carefully curated smiles, one that seeks meaning, depth, resonance. And the more you walk this path, the more you realize you're not alone. There are others like you, quiet souls, energy readers, truth seekers. And as you continue to trust your sensitivity, your intuition, your energy, you will find them. And in those connections, you will remember who you are. At first, it felt like you were just off. Like the people you used to laugh with now speak a language you no longer understand. Like the places that once gave you comfort now feel foreign. You tried to shake it, tried to force yourself back into old habits, back into old roles, back into the version of you who could pretend better. But it didn't work, because something inside you had already shifted. This wasn't a phase, this was a transformation. The world didn't change. You did, and that changed everything. You began to see behind the curtain, where most people are still caught in the performance. You noticed how many conversations are rehearsed, how many smiles are masks, how many interactions are rituals of avoidance rather than connection. It was never about fitting in, it was about remembering who you really are beneath all the noise. This awakening, it isn't gentle. It rips away the false. It exposes the hollow. It forces you to sit with what's real. And what's real isn't always easy, because once you start seeing through the illusion, you can't go back. You can't unfeel the energy of a lie. You can't unknow the depth of your own soul. You can't unsee the truth you now carry in your bones. So you walk differently. You move differently. You seek differently. You're no longer satisfied with the noise. You crave stillness. You crave substance. You crave people who don't just speak, but see, who feel the room as deeply as you do, who listen between the words, who hold space without trying to fill the silence. And it's here, in the solitude, that you realize something powerful. You were never meant to be like everyone else. Your sensitivity wasn't a weakness. It was a doorway, a portal into a deeper layer of this reality. And while most people live on the surface, comfortable in their patterns, you were called into the depths, into the mystery, into the unknown. But this depth can be lonely, because once your soul starts craving the real, the raw, the sacred, it becomes painfully clear how rare that is. You find yourself walking away from friendships that were once familiar, but now feel hollow. Not out of anger, not out of judgment, but because your energy can no longer tolerate what lacks resonance. You start craving silence, not just as rest, but as truth. Because in silence, nothing is pretending, nothing is performing, just being. And that's where you find yourself again. It's not that you don't love people, you just can't do the performance anymore. You can't smile through discomfort. You can't fake enthusiasm. You can't pretend that shallow is enough. Your soul knows the difference now, between connection and consumption, between presence and performance, between truth and noise, and it refuses to settle. So yes, it feels like you're pulling away. Yes, it feels like you're growing distant, but what's really happening is this. You're clearing space. Space for the right people, the right energy, the right experiences. You're no longer looking for company. You're looking for resonance, for kindred spirits who don't exhaust you, for spaces where your silence is understood, for souls who feel like exhale, not effort. And as you clear that space, you begin to reclaim your own energy. You begin to understand just how much of yourself you were giving away, just to belong. You realize how often you ignored your body's signals, how often you smiled while feeling depleted, how often you stayed when your soul was already gone. But no more. Now you move with intention. Now you protect your peace. Now you listen when your spirit whispers, "This isn't for us." This shift, this awakening, is not the end. It's the beginning of life beyond the illusion, life that honors your energy, your truth, your path, a path that may feel lonely at times, but it's never empty, because the more you honor your frequency, the more you attract those who match it. The more you trust your intuition, the more life aligns, not instantly, not always comfortably, but authentically. And as that authenticity unfolds, you begin to see you're not broken, you're becoming whole. You're not antisocial, you're soul selective. You're not withdrawing, you're remembering. And the people who are meant to walk beside you, they'll find you in the quiet, in the truth, in the spaces where energy speaks louder than words, because you're not here to fit in, you're here to wake up. There comes a moment in every awakening when the life you once lived feels like a fading memory. The jokes that used to make you laugh, they fall flat. The conversations that once filled your days, now they echo with emptiness. And the people, the ones you once shared everything with, now seem like characters from a story you no longer belong to. It's not that you stopped caring, it's that you've started seeing. And once your vision shifts, nothing looks the same. At first, it's disorienting. You feel out of place in places that once felt like home. You sit in rooms full of people and feel utterly alone. You question yourself. Am I becoming cold? Am I isolating too much? Is something wrong with me? But deep down, you know the answer. Nothing's wrong. You're just waking up. You've started to crave something deeper. Not the performance, not the surface, but something real. Real connection, real presence, real purpose. And most of what you see around you isn't that. It's distraction. It's noise. It's a desperate attempt to avoid silence, because silence reveals everything, and most people aren't ready to face what it shows. But you've started to welcome it. The stillness, the solitude, the sacred space where your own voice can finally be heard. At first, you mistook this space for loneliness, but now you know it's your sanctuary. It's where your soul speaks, where your heart recalibrates, where your energy heals, and it's in this space that your new life begins. A life where you no longer force yourself to engage in what feels fake, where you don't apologize for needing silence, where your boundaries are no longer negotiable, because you've come to understand not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every invitation requires a yes. Not every connection is sacred. You begin to feel it. Who energizes you, who drains you, who meets you where you are, and who just wants to pull you back to where they left you. You feel the difference, and you honor it, not out of ego, not out of judgment, but because your peace is now a priority. And as you step deeper into this new awareness, something beautiful happens. You stop trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop seeking validation from a world that doesn't even validate its own truth. You stop compromising your intuition to keep others comfortable. You start trusting yourself. Radically, relentlessly. Because your path may be unconventional, but it is yours. And though it may feel lonely at times, you begin to sense them. Others like you, those who feel deeply, who question everything, who can't pretend anymore. You might not meet them right away, but you'll feel their presence in the books you read, in the art that moves you, in the conversations that make you pause and think, they understand. And eventually, you will find them. Or rather, they'll find you, because energy always finds its match. And when it does, it's effortless. No explanations, no masks, no pretending, just resonance, recognition, relief. The kind of relief that comes when your soul finally whispers, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. But even before they arrive, you are never truly alone, because solitude isn't a void, it's a presence that deepens you, strengthens you, aligns you, and in that alignment, you begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You remember your softness, your knowing, your vision, your truth, and once remembered, you reclaim it. You stop living to be understood. You start living to be authentic. You stop waiting for others to meet you. You rise and meet yourself. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never designed for someone like you. You expand. You unfold. You awaken. This is the path of the awakened soul. It's not easy. It's not popular. But it's real. And it's worth it. Because the deeper you go, the more you begin to realize this isn't about separating yourself from the world. It's about finding your place in it, your real place. A place where your energy isn't diluted, where your voice isn't silenced, where your presence is felt and honored. And when you reach that place, everything changes. Not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, quietly, powerfully. Your life starts aligning, not with what you were taught to want, but with what your soul came here to experience, and you finally begin to live, not just survive, not just perform, not just exist, but live. So if you're in that space now, of transition, of unraveling, of release, know this: you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are transforming, and with every piece you shed, you are becoming more of who you truly are. Let go, trust the pull, honor the silence, and walk boldly into the unknown, because your path may be different, but it is sacred, and the world is waiting for the fully awakened version of you to rise.